If Japan is on your travel list, this video has everything you'll need to know before you go. We've put together all the essential info in one spot, so you can save time and plan like a pro. From how to get around and what documents you'll need, to tips on maximizing your time and budget. Stay with us as we share 10 essential things you must know before your adventure through Japan. There we go! Japan has a huge network of over 90 airports, both domestic and international, making it super easy to get here from just about anywhere. The major international hubs are Narita and Haneda in Tokyo, Kansai in Osaka, and Chubu Centre in Nagoya, connecting with Asia, North America, Europe, and Oceania. You'll also find a few other international airports like Fukuoka Naha in Okinawa and New Chitose in Sapporo, which mostly handle flights from within Asia. Arriving in Japan is usually smooth and really well organized, but knowing what to expect can help you avoid any hassle and kick off your trip stress-free. To travel to Japan, as of this video's date, you might need the following documentation. Passport. It must be valid for your entire stay in Japan. Make sure it has at least 6 months of validity at the time of entering the country. Depending on your nationality, you may need a visa to enter Japan. Many countries have agreements for short stays without a visa for tourism, business, or family visits. Check if your country is exempt or if you need to apply at a Japanese embassy or consulate. You might also qualify for an electronic visa, which allows you to apply online without visiting an embassy. For more information on visa requirements, check the link in the description below from the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Immigration form and customs declaration. When you arrive in Japan, you'll need to fill out an immigration form, which you'll get during your flight or at the airport. If you have anything to declare, you'll also need a customs declaration form. To make things easier, you can fill out the immigration form online before you get there. Many airlines and services like Visit Japan Web offer this option. Just provide your personal info, the reason for your visit, and where you'll be staying in Japan. Japan also lets you do the customs declaration online through the Japan Customs website or app. You can declare any items you're bringing that might be taxable or restricted. Once you finish this online, you'll get a QR code to show at customs, which helps speed up your entry into the country. You can complete all these forms on Visit Japan Web. Find the link in the description. Keep in mind that you might also be asked for exit ticket. When entering, sometimes you'll need to show a travel ticket for leaving Japan, either back to your home country or to another destination. Accommodation proof. It's a good idea to have a confirmed hotel reservation or a residential address in Japan, in case immigration asks. Travel insurance. While not mandatory, it's highly recommended to have travel insurance that covers medical expenses and emergencies. Internet access. Getting around Japan, especially in Tokyo, can be tricky, since the city is huge, and there are many transport options, plus the language barrier can add to the confusion. That's why having internet access on your phone is super helpful. Let's look at the best ways to stay connected during your trip to Japan so you can choose what works best for you. Let's start with eSIM, one of the most modern and convenient options. If your phone supports it, you can buy a Japanese data plan online before you arrive and activate it upon landing. No need to swap out a physical SIM card. This saves you time and hassle. You can keep your home number active while using local data along with your contacts and WhatsApp chats. It's a great choice for anyone looking for a quick and effective solution. Another popular option is a prepaid SIM. You'll need to replace your phone's SIM with the one you've purchased for internet access. If your phone is dual SIM, you can add the data SIM without removing your home operator's card. These cards can be activated immediately and are designed for tourists offering short-term data plans. You can find them at airports, electronics stores, or online before your trip. If you're traveling with a group or need to connect multiple devices, pocket Wi-Fi is a great choice. This portable device creates a Wi-Fi network for your phone, tablet, or laptop. You can rent one at the airport, online, or at electronic stores in Japan. It's handy for sharing the connection, but keep in mind that you'll need to charge it regularly and return it at the end of your trip. Using your mobile carrier's international plan can be a convenient option for staying connected in Japan. Many carriers offer roaming that lets you use your usual data plan, but it's really important to check the rates before you go, since this can sometimes be more expensive than other options. Be sure to check the details so you're not surprised by your bill later on. Free Wi-Fi is available in Japan at places like airports, train stations, and cafes, but it can be a bit unstable. Currency exchange. In Japan, the yen is the official currency. While many places accept cards, it's still wise to carry cash, especially in rural areas and smaller shops where cards may not be accepted. Major airports like Narita, Haneda, and Kansai offer 24-hour currency exchange services. The rates are usually quite reasonable, making it a convenient option for quick cash access. ATMs are also a convenient and often cost-effective way to obtain yen. Many ATMs in Japan, particularly those in 7-Eleven stores, accept foreign cards and provide competitive exchange rates. They're available 24/7, which makes them accessible at any time. However, it's important to ensure your card is enabled for international use and to be aware of any fees your bank might charge. In major urban areas like Tokyo and Osaka, currency exchange shops are easy to find. However, in less touristy areas, finding a money exchange shop might be more challenging. Japanese banks and post offices also have ATMs that in general accept international cards, but they operate on limited hours, usually from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Luggage. In Japan, traveling with large luggage can be challenging, especially on public transportation. If you're traveling with big suitcases, it's best to avoid using the metro or buses in cities. There usually isn't enough space for them, and it's hard to move around without bothering others. This is especially true during rush hour or on crowded lines. However, if you're traveling with minimal luggage, like a backpack and a carry-on, you won't face significant issues. On long-distance trains, space for luggage can be limited. However, there are exceptions such as airport trains that have dedicated luggage areas. On Shinkansen, the overhead racks are suitable for standard-sized luggage, like backpacks and carry-on suitcases. If you are traveling with large suitcases, you must reserve space in advance to store them at the rear of certain cars. Regular-sized suitcases should also be placed in the overhead space. The Takayama service is a popular luggage delivery service in Japan. It's a convenient way to send your bags from one place to another, so you don't have to carry heavy luggage on public transport. You can send your bags from one hotel to another at your next destination for a more comfortable trip. It's easy to use and fairly affordable as you pay based on the size of your bag and the distance. The most popular service you'll find everywhere is Yamato, recognizable by its logo of a black cat on a yellow background. Lockers are everywhere, especially at train and subway stations, in the basements of shopping centers, and even out on the street. However, luggage storage can be trickier to find. You'll typically find it at airports and major train stations. Additionally, they have different time limits. Luggage storage usually allows you to keep bags for several days, while lockers typically require you to pick up your bags the same day. During peak hours or at very busy stations, it can be hard to find an available locker, especially if you have large luggage. It's a good idea to use apps or online services that help you locate available lockers in real time. These lockers are especially useful for people staying in Airbnbs instead of hotels, as they allow you to store your luggage until your usual check-in time, which is typically around noon. Make sure to have 100 yen coins for the older lockers or a charged IC card if you plan to use the newer ones. In Japan, trains are the top choice for transportation. Whether it's the metro, tram, regional trains, or the high-speed Shinkansen. In major cities and between them, trains are usually the easiest way to get around. Though there are exceptions like Kyoto, where buses are actually the best way to reach some of the main tourist spots. Suica and Pasmo are widely used transportation cards and electronic wallets in Japan, especially in Tokyo and surrounding areas. Both allow payment on trains, subways, buses, and are compatible with each other and other IC cards like Ikoka and Kitaka. They also work as e-wallets in convenience stores, vending machines, and some taxis. Suica is issued by JR East and is easy to find at JR stations and airports. Pasmo, launched by Tokyo transport operators, can be purchased at subway stations. The Welcome Suica is a deposit-free option valid for 28 days for international visitors. In contrast, standard Suica and Pasmo cards require a deposit at purchase, which is refundable when the card is returned. You can easily reload them at ticket machines in train and subway stations, convenience stores, and some kiosks, so you're always ready for the next ride. You can find Pasmo and Suica mobile versions for compatible iPhone and Android devices with integration into Apple Pay and Google Pay. Tokyo has two main airports, Narita, which is about 60 kilometers from the city, and Haneda, only 15 to 20 kilometers from downtown. From Narita, you can take the Narita Express included in JR Pass, which takes about 60 minutes and connects to key stations like Tokyo and Shinjuku, or the Keizei Skyliner, which gets you to Ueno in around 40 minutes. From Haneda, the Tokyo monorail, also included in JR Pass, takes about 20-30 minutes to reach Hamamatsucho Station, where you can transfer to the JR Yamanote line to get to other parts of the city. There's also the Keikyu line, which is another quick option taking 15-30 minutes. You can also find direct buses that offer a comfortable ride, along with other train options that take significantly longer. Taxis and private transfer services tend to be pricier, but they're convenient if you're carrying a lot of luggage or traveling with a group. The Tokyo Metro is a super efficient and extensive transportation system that includes two main networks, Tokyo Metro and Toi Subway, which connect nicely with each other. Here's a quick guide. The Tokyo Metro map might look a bit overwhelming at first, but it uses colors and numbers to make things easier. Each line has its own color and letter. Fares depend on how far you're going, and kids pay half price. You can grab tickets at vending machines that have instructions in English. For a smoother ride, consider getting a rechargeable IC card, like Suica or Pasmo, to skip the hassle of buying individual tickets. The metro runs from 5 o'clock a.m. to midnight, so plan your trips accordingly. It can get pretty crowded during peak hours, so if you can, try to avoid those times. Download apps like Navitime and Google Maps to help you navigate routes and schedules. The Tokyo Subway Navigation for Tourists is an app that's especially handy for visitors. Additionally, the Tokyo Subway ticket lets you travel unlimitedly on the metro for 24, 48, or 72 hours, which is perfect if you plan on using the metro a lot. On top of that, some metro stations connect with JR train lines and buses, making it easier to reach places that are otherwise hard to access. Traveling by train in Japan is a fantastic way to make the most of your trip, since the main tourist spots are all connected by an extensive rail network. The JR Pass lets you take unlimited train rides for 7, 14, or 21 consecutive days. Plus, you can also use some buses and a ferry in Miyajima. You can grab it online or at JR offices in airports or stations. When you buy it, you'll need to enter your name exactly as it appears on your passport, the date of your trip, and the address where you want to receive the exchange order. Just remember that order expires in 90 days, so you can only purchase the pass within 90 days of when you plan to use it. You can only buy the JR Pass if you're visiting Japan for tourism. If you have a re-entry permit, student status, or a residence visa, you're not eligible for the pass. Also, the JR Pass is personal and non-transferable, so each traveler needs their own pass. Kids under 6 travel free, but they don't get a seat. Once you arrive in Japan, you can go to a JR office in the airport or major train stations to exchange your order for the pass and choose your start date. Seat reservations on trains usually cost extra, but with a JR Pass, they're free. You can book seats at the station machines or at the offices if you're unsure about the procedure. Most limited express and Shinkansen trains have non-reserved seating cars. With JR Pass, you can just arrive at the station, head to the platform, and take any open seat from those cars. The JR Pass lets you travel without limits on all JR train lines. This includes the Shinkansen bullet trains, with an extra charge for the Nozomi and Mizuho services. It also covers JR Express, local trains and urban lines like Tokyo's Yamanote Line and the Osaka Loop Line. Plus, the pass includes the Miyajima Ferry, the Tokyo Monorail, and some JR buses. The convenience of the JR Pass compared to other regional passes is widely debated, especially since the price increased significantly in 2023. In our experience, it's a good option if you plan to take at least 3 long Shinkansen trips, as you can also use it on urban trains and easily adjust your travel plans if needed. Finally, buses are a budget-friendly way to travel around Japan, and they're especially great for overnight trips. You can save on a night's hotel stay while still getting where you need to go. Language. In Japan, English isn't widely spoken, especially outside tourist areas. In big cities like Tokyo, Osaka, or Kyoto, you'll find more English speakers at hotels, airports, and train stations, and many signs and menus are also in English. However, in rural areas and smaller towns, English is much less common, and it can be a bit more challenging to communicate if you don't speak Japanese. In restaurants, you're more likely to find English-speaking staff at big chains and tourist spots. But in small businesses, you might need to use translation apps or point at what you want. To help overcome the language barrier, consider using translation apps or learning some useful Japanese phrases. The Japanese are usually very friendly and willing to help even if they don't speak English. They'll appreciate it if you say a few things in Japanese. Customs and etiquette. Japan is known for its deep sense of respect and courtesy, which is reflected in everyday interactions and social norms. This cultural focus on hospitality, called omotenashi, involves anticipating and fulfilling the needs of others. Traditionally, Japanese homes had tatami floors made of straw that would get damaged by footwear. Although many homes now have Western-style floors, it's still customary to remove them. There's an area at the entrance called a genkan, where you can leave your shoes. In Japan, people rarely talk on their phones in public, especially on trains. If they must, they speak quietly, cover their mouths, and try to finish quickly, and phones are usually on silent. In Japan, it's generally customary to stand on the left when using escalators, leaving the right side clear for people in a hurry. Although this isn't always the case, in some places it can be the opposite, for example in Osaka. Speaking of food customs, don't stick your chopsticks in your rice bowl because it's a funeral ritual and really bad manners. Instead, rest them on the side of the bowl or on a chopstick holder. Also, avoid passing food between chopsticks as it's linked to funeral customs too. Just place the food on someone's plate or a shared plate so they can use their own chopsticks. Usually you'll pay at the register instead of at your table, and tipping isn't really a thing. In fact, it might even be considered a bit rude. Also, if you have dietary restrictions like being vegan or vegetarian, or if you need to limit salt because of hypertension, keep in mind that these requests aren't always common in Japan's eating habits, and some restaurant staff might not be familiar with accommodating them. When you eat out in Japan, keep in mind that not all restaurants have menus in English. It helps to know some basic Japanese dishes, and translation apps can come in handy for reading the menu. Talking about gestures, pointing at someone with your index finger is considered rude. Instead, use your hands with palms up. If you want to refer to yourself, touch your nose with your index finger rather than your chest. When it comes to shopping, tourists can get a 10% tax refund through the tax-free system by spending at least 5,000 yen at a participating store marked with the logo. At checkout, they'll ask for your passport, confirm you're a tourist, and complete an electronic form for the purchase details. No extra steps needed from you. Technically, consumable items should be sealed in bags that aren't opened until you leave the country. But in practice, this isn't usually enforced. If Japan is on your travel list, you're now ready with these key tips to make the most of your trip. From getting around the country to staying connected and respecting local customs, we hope this guide has you covered for your adventure. This brings us to the end of our tips to make your experience in Japan unforgettable. Now it's time to wrap things up. Let us know in the comments what you'd like to see in future videos, and if you've already booked your trip to Japan, tell us when you're going. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support really helps us keep creating new content. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.